Greetings and welcome to the Enlightened First Lady Show. I'm your host, Lady Cara Payne, and I am so delighted to have my guest this afternoon, Lady Keysha Smith, in the house. Thank you, Lady
Yes.
Keysha, for being on with me today. So I am just so appreciative. We have not had the opportunity to meet in person. We were both in the same place last
Just
weekend,
a few days
and
ago.
yeah, it didn't even dawn on me. It was just so much going on. It would have been hard. It might have been hard, but we are here now in this virtual space. And so I'm just so excited to just learn a little bit about you, hear your story, hear about you and your hubby and your journey in ministry. And so let's just go ahead and kick off and just kind of give the people a little bit of background about you. And who is Keysha Smith?
All right, all right. Well, let me first say thank you for this opportunity to share my story and ministry alongside my husband as a pastor's spouse, pastor's wife. I am Keysha Smith. Um, I picked up Lady Keysha Smith when we started serving in Miami. The members started calling me Lady Keysha, so that's how it happened. So now it's Lady Keysha. Even though I'm an ordained clergy person now, they still call me Lady Keysha, and I'm okay with that. I really am. I am a lover of God. I am a wife to my husband, the Reverend Octavius LaVan Smith. I am a mother of three daughters, Ketavia, Takevia, and Zion. They are 31, 24, and 20 years old. I am mama to Antonio Jonathan Brown III, who was 9 years old, and I am mama to Kyler Jair Brown, who just turned a year old this past December on my birthday. That's crazy. But those are the loves of my life. I'm an entrepreneur. My husband and I have a business that we call Inspire Your World Store. And then I'm also a licensed state of Florida realtor, and I'm an educator by profession. I teach middle school, and so I'm just excited to be here with you. This platform is an amazing thing, and that we as pastor spouses get to share our stories and get to know or let people know more about us. Because you're right, we're not monoliths. And I thank you again.
Of course, of course. So, wow, I love that you called the roll and shared about, wow, I did not know you were a bona fide girl mom. Okay.
Yes,
So,
yes,
that is super cool because of course I am one of technically four girls.
yeah.
And so you and my parents have that in common. Bless your hearts. Bless your
Yes,
hearts.
and they're
But it
all
sounds like
regulars. They're all. Our youngest daughter is finishing her. She's in her third year. She's a nursing major, and so all of our daughters have attended FAMU, and they just love it. They love it. Yeah,
oh, beautiful,
yeah.
beautiful, beautiful. And so tell me, so you mentioned that not only are you a first lady or, you are a pastor spouse, but you are a clergy person as well. So tell me a little bit about where you all currently serve.
Okay. Um, We currently serve at Greater Grant Memorial African Methodist Episcopal Church right there in the beautiful metropolis of Jacksonville, Florida. We've been there a little over a year now. All is going well. We're excited about this assignment, and so we're thankful to God for the opportunity to serve in Jacksonville.
And so I want to hear a little bit more about your story. So first, how did you meet Pastor Smith? And then, well, let's start there. How did you two meet? How long have you been married?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we met in high school. So we are high school sweethearts. Um, I remember it like it was yesterday. The day he asked me to be his girlfriend was April 23rd, 1992. So I call that our date anniversary. So coming this April, we would have been together 34 years. 34 years we've been together, and we've been married 28 years. It'll be 29 years in November. So yeah. So we
Oh my
yeah.
goodness. That is beautiful. So was he, I mean, was he, could you see that he was on the ministry track then? Or, I mean, how far into your relationship did he answer his call? And then when did you answer yours?
So, of course, we were in high school. We were 16 years old when we met. So we basically grew up together. Let me just put it like that.
Right.
And so, but that was in 92. We gave our lives to Christ in 97. He didn't even answer his call to preach until 99. And then for me, I didn't answer my call until 2019. And so I've been ordained for the last, it's been 3 years now that I've been ordained itinerant deacon in the AME church.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So what is that like, or what was that conversation like? Did he say, babe, hey, like I'm sure he didn't discourage you, but I mean, I'm sure he was, and you were able to see his experience going through.
Yes.
So, I mean, how was that journey?
So let's just start with his journey. He, like I said, we had just given our lives to Christ September of 97. We were married November 97. 58 days later, we planned a full wedding in 58 days. And so in 99, when he accepted his call to preach, like we had talked about it a couple of times over a matter of a few days, but it wasn't until when he went to tell our then pastor. But the pastor told him, I already knew. I was just waiting for you to come and tell me. And so it was really like a whirlwind because I was like, what? Like, what's about to happen? Didn't really know because we were new to the church ministry anyhow, just going to church. And so it was a lot at first. It was a lot because both of us, we come from households where like our parents made us go to church as little kids, but then as we got older, like preteen, it wasn't a thing. I'll put it like that. It wasn't a thing. And so him accepting his call was surprising in a way. But then again, it wasn't because of the track that we were on, just working through the church. So I kind of felt like it was going to be deeper than what we saw at that time. But I didn't realize it was going to happen like that soon. Like it was quick. And so no, we come from kind of the same kind of backgrounds. We did grow up in a house with both parents and all, but at a certain age we just weren't we like how our daughters are, like they went to church, okay, but we weren't made to go to church especially at a certain age. We weren't just made to go to church, and so it was all brand new to us. We had already had our first daughter. She was 3.5 years old when we joined Mount Olive AME Church in Orlando on Church Street. And so, yeah, it just kind of started from there. And then for me, one Easter Sunday morning in 2000, it was about 2019. It was 2019, and my husband preached, and I came out of the choir stand, and when I walked around to the altar, he's looking at me like, "What you doing? What are you doing?" And I just bawled out. So I knew that the Lord was pulling on me for quite some time, at least about 10 or 11 months. The Lord was waking me up every morning or in the 4 o'clock hour saying, now is your time. Now is your time. And I was afraid. I was afraid because I saw my husband go through the process, even though it was a long time prior, but I still was afraid about how it was going to happen, how things were going to play out for us as a couple, as a marital couple, but then especially for him as already being a pastor. I just didn't know how it was going to go with us. So
And so that time that God was kind of working on you with this, you hadn't expressed it to your hubby?
he knew, like we talked about it, because I was just like, I feel like this pull and this urge, and he was like, yeah, I know, but I was just sitting on it, like I never would just come in. Of course, he didn't force me, and he was just like, okay, you just got to let God work, and His timing is perfect, so just wait on God, and that's what I did. So he was very good with me on that. He didn't push me and like, oh, you need to hurry up or you need to come. He didn't do any of that. He was very patient and very encouraging, really, he was.
That is so beautiful that one, to be high school sweethearts and really, so I mean, you all know each other from, more or less like the beginning, when you're really coming into your own as a teenager and kind of figuring your place out in the world. And so then to, see you, and probably the Lord had spoke to him and was like, so he was like, he was just waiting, but he didn't push.
That's right.
And so then for you to make that, like you said, you came forward and was like, all right, I'm ready, Lord, and him like,
This is it.
okay,
Today is
this
the
is it. This is the moment. Wow, wow, wow. And what were your daughter's reactions?
well, I don't think they were surprised because I actively worked with my husband in ministry since
Right.
he got his first church in 2006. I sang in the choir, I taught Sunday school, I helped fix plates for missionary projects, I led Bible study, praise and worship, like I ushered, I was over the youth department, so some of everything. So it wasn't a surprise to them. Except they was like, so now our mommy and our daddy are preachers. I'm like, yep.
Double
Yeah.
PKs. We love
Yes.
it. We
Yes.
love it. We love it. And so how has that relationship happened? So wait, I had two questions. So the first one was, I know you mentioned you all joined Mount Olive AME. So were you all raised AME?
Well, as a kid, I went to New Bethel, also in Orlando. But my husband was raised in a Baptist church, and
Okay.
so yeah, he just kind of crossed over unknowingly. I don't think he. But it was the pastor. Well, our pastor at that time was then Reverend Marvin Clyde Zanders, and who's now our bishop. So he was our pastor.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. And again, my dad always likes to say the genius of the connection. It just
Right.
all works itself out. So, what has that journey been like? Because I think you spoke about how you were kind of hesitant on like, okay, what does that look when we're both clergy? How has that relationship been? Because I guess you would be considered on the ministerial staff at Greater Grant.
Yes. So like I said in the very beginning, I was kind of hesitant because in my mind I thought, okay, if I do this, then are they going to try to split us up and he's got a pastor here and then ask me to go there? And that was
Yeah.
always going to be an issue for me. And I kept telling him, like, even going through the process, I'm like, I do not want to be split up. Like, I
Hmm.
can't handle that. I don't think that no, I can't handle that. And so he kind of like broke it down to me. It's like, you're going to be fine. Like, you don't have to go and pastor a church, like, so you're going to be fine. But that was always the main thing for me. And I was like, I don't think I want to do that. Like, no. So, yeah, but the process did work out. Fortunately, nobody has asked me to go and pastor. And I think they're now at that point too, understanding like we are one. So, but we're good. All is well on that aspect. I do serve alongside him now in the pulpit. My first time doing it, we were at St. Paul, Ocala, because that's when I was actually ordained. We were at Allen Chapel in Sanford when I accepted my call and started the process. We were at St. Paul, Ocala when I was actually ordained. And then now we're at Greater Grant. And so just sitting in the pulpit with him and, just being able to assist and help do what I've always done anyways, that's, working alongside him in ministry. It was just, it felt comfortable. Like almost immediately, it felt comfortable. I was still thankful that we had other ministers that worked alongside us and everything. But yeah, it did feel comfortable almost immediately.
Well, hearing all these wonderful, aspects, but I know that I shouldn't assume there might be some challenges or some moments where you say, and even, even if you weren't clergy, where you see, what's going on, or, other clergy wives have said, like, we are our husband's kind of eyes and ears.
That's
So do
right.
you feel like you have that, or are people more hesitant because they're like, oh wait, this is, Reverend Lady Smith. So,
Yeah.
how has that been? Or do you, or like just in general, like any challenges or the way you work through any, like, you all might not see eye to eye about this ministry opportunity or
Mhm.
whatever. Like, talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, let me first say when I first accepted my call, and I guess it's like through the process, I had to go before like the church conference. Um, Being that my husband had already been in the ministry at least 15, well, in the active pastoral ministry, at least 15 years at that point. There was a comment that was made from an older member of the church, who basically said, like, yeah, she trying to come through because she thinks she gonna ride in on her husband's coattail. So I was like, what? So I'm like, if that was the case, I would have been done this. Like, this is not that. This is definitely not that. Me and God talked about this for 10 or 11 months. Like, we were going back and forth, and I lost the fight. But yeah, so that kind of hurt me in a way, because I'm like, you clearly you cannot understand how this really works, because it was never that. But besides that, there are times when, you know, because like you said, we are basically the eyes and ears for our husbands in ministry, and there are a lot of things that we as the wife get to bring forth and get to talk about or bring attention to. And so it's kind of still really that. Now, I know my place, so I know when there are some things I'm just got to back or wait for another time to say or to bring to his attention or whatever. But I still know that uh, God ordained our relationship. Let me say that first, because before we could become anything other than husband and wife, we had to be friends. So we became friends first because we were both going through situations in our lives at that young age, just kind of in our homes and everything. So we were friends first. And so I believe that God, I know that God knew what he was doing when he gave us each other. I like to say it like that, back in 1992. And so, yeah, so I know my place. I know that there's sometimes, I just gotta back off, or sometimes it's more welcoming, like, babe, what do you think? What you think I should do? Or how should I, do this ministry? Or who do you think about, putting on or leading this ministry? So there has been times where he has depended on my input, only because I know he knows that I got his best interests at heart. And so I'm going to help him think. So, as a matter of fact, Sunday, he talked about from the pulpit, there was something that he missed or was doing. So it was like he do the invitation to discipleship. And I just end up telling him, I said, you spend a great deal of time opening the doors, inviting people to be able to come and for prayer or to give their lives to Christ. You spend a great deal of time and you're very good at it. Don't get me wrong. But the problem that I have or that I see is that you take the time to make sure it's clear what's happening, but when the time is now for them to come, it's like so fast. Like, people are still trying to figure out what they want to do. That, they're battling sometimes, so you just got to give them that time. And sure enough, as he was finishing preaching Sunday, a few people did come up to give their lives to Christ. And it was at that moment when he shared the story. And so he said, see, I do listen. Y'all, I listen sometimes. So yeah, so we just, I just say that we have to be very sure of what it is that we're saying to our spouses in ministry, and helping them with decisions, and just even just regular conversations also helps them so that they can see things sometimes in a different way, because like the book says, men are like waffles and women are like spaghetti. So sometimes their thought process is like that, but we kind of can be all over the place at the same time. And so yeah, I think that really.
I have never heard that.
You never heard of the book?
No.
Oh yeah, men are like waffles and women are like spaghetti.
That's the title of the book?
Yes, yes,
I'm
yes,
gonna have to look that one up.
yes, yes.
Wow. And I love that. Like, I love that he can be transparent and also like speak to the fact that, yes, you all are partners in life, in ministry, and you can take feedback because that's so important. But
Sure.
also, it's about being, first of all, bathing what you're saying in prayer and making sure that, hopefully it falls on,
Right.
that your spouse is receptive to what you are sharing in love. And like you said, it was so critical that you have each other's best interests, at heart. That's the big thing. Like, I'm not your enemy. Like, I'm on your team. We're together in this. So that's so good. That's so good. Well, I want to, pivot because we have, talked extensively about the ministry aspect, but as you mentioned, you are an educator, so God bless you. You are not only an educator in middle school people,
Yes.
and God bless. God
Well, thank you.
bless
I need it. We need all the prayers we can get.
you. You are called for such a time as this. How long have you been in education?
This is my ninth year. This is my ninth
Oh,
year. Yeah. I went to
okay.
school as an adult. And so Octavius and I had our first daughter. I had just graduated high school, but she was 4 months old at his high school graduation. And so
Oh,
I didn't go to school. I just continued to work, take care of my baby. I didn't want to leave my baby. So I didn't go to school. And one day at mid-year in 2012, the mid-year it's actually coming up again now. So March 2012, we were at the hotel and he walked up, we were getting dressed and he said, "What is your greatest desire?" And it didn't take me long. I said, "I want to go to school." He's like, "Really?" I said, "Yes." And so that was March. I was already at the school where I teach now. I was working there in the cafeteria because our daughters also went to school there. And one day there was an incident with another employee, and it was just too much drama. And, we had words back and forth, and they went to the office and said that I disrespected them when really they disrespected me. I just was responding like, "I'm grown, so you're going to talk to me like an adult. Like, you're not going to talk to me any kind of way." But anyway, by the time I got to the office, they already had this packet of papers and this little daily bread book, and I need to learn how to talk to people. I was like, "What? Like, you haven't even heard my side of the story. Like, are you kidding me?"
right.
And so anyhow, on my way back from the office onto the other side, I called my husband and I was crying because I was mad because I really wanted to fight because I'm like, "What? Like, no." And so I called him and he said, "Leave." And I'm like, it just clicked on me. I'm like, I can't just leave. What do you mean? This is my job. My kids are here. Like, I can't just walk away because in my mind, morally, I can't just walk off the job. Like, I can handle this. And so, anyhow, it woke up that thing in me. He had just asked me a few weeks ago, "What is your greatest desire?" And I thought about that thing and I said, "You know what? My girls are not going to always be here," because that was like a comfort place for me. I wanted to be where they were. And I said, they're going to
Yeah.
grow up and they're going to get older, and this school not going to be able to hold them. Like, they're going to go beyond middle school. So I said, I need to figure my life out. Like, what am I doing? And so when I got home, I worked through the day. When I got home, I applied for school. It was on a Wednesday. I'll never forget. I had my acceptance letter Friday. Okay. I didn't go to work on Friday because they sent it to me by email. I didn't even go to work Friday. When I got up to get them ready for school, I told my husband, "I got to go to the school and finish doing some paperwork or whatever. They have orientation. Like, it's about to happen." And classes started the next week. That's how close it was. So I started summer session 2012 at Valencia College, and the rest is history. I left there, went to UCF, and got my bachelor's degree in psychology. And before I can graduate, like 3 or 4 weeks before I graduated, the school called me back to take a classroom. Yeah. But I did
Wow.
stuff there kind of throughout. I would just tell them at the top of every semester what days I had class and the days that I were free. And so I did go and help out and sub and stuff like that because my girls were still there, where the youngest one was. Um, but like I said, before I actually graduated, they called us like, "Would you be willing to take a class?" It was kind of off the record. It was off the record, but then it was like, okay, because I just want to make sure, because I'm gonna go tell the principal, like, okay, I found us a teacher. So yeah, that's how that happened, and I'm still there now. Yeah,
Wow, what a full circle moment.
yeah.
And because that was the same school where you had that I don't want to call it
Issue with the
altercation, but
co-worker. Yeah,
issue. Yeah. Wow. Wow.
yeah,
See, and that's I mean, it's giving, make your enemies your footstool because now you are there, you are serving, you are making a difference and making an impact on these young people's lives. So that's amazing. That's a testimony. I love it.
yeah. I taught first and second grade for the first 7 years. So this is my second year in middle school, and the student, because I got to interact with them a lot, so a lot of them already knew me because they
Yeah.
probably came through my first or second grade class formally. And so they
Hmm.
literally wrote a letter to the office like, we want Miss Smith to come to middle school because we were losing a teacher. And they literally wrote a letter and had everybody, all the students sign it. And sure enough, they offered me the classroom in middle school. And um, even though it's this age group of young people that's like the most trying, um, I really enjoy, because I feel like though I love first and second grade, they're my babies. Like I love them, and I knew that God was calling me to a different space and place because there were things that they needed, the older age group needed, that I knew that God was already preparing me to be able to share with them to prepare them for the life ahead. And so God just
Right.
opened the door just like that, and I know it was nobody but Him. It was nobody but Him.
And for such a critical time in the
Oh yeah,
world, like, wow, like, thank you. I mean, I'm sure that could be a whole nother show, just
yeah,
how you have to move and
yeah.
stay prayed up
Yeah,
as you go about this work. But I just want to say, nobody said thank you today. I'm saying thank you
thank
for
you.
the impact and you sharing your gifts with our young people.
For sure.
And so, in addition to the ministry, in addition to middle school, you mentioned you had your own real estate business and you're always fly. Let's just say that because I admire, you pop up on my feed and I'm like, yes,
Thank
lady.
you.
So, I mean, just give, the folks a little bit more about, how long you've been in the real estate world and, how that, I guess, is something that sparks joy for you and it can be another outlet or anything that you want to share about that part of who you are and what you do.
Okay, so I am an entrepreneur. I earned my real estate license 3 years ago. It was slow, slow for me just getting it off the ground. It was something I wanted to do. I took advantage of the opportunity during um, the summer months of the first year of COVID, to take the class, and then I had to go and take the state exam, which I took a little time to do that so that I could study because this ain't no young 16-year-old brain anymore. But I did. I passed the test first try, the state exam, I should say, the first try. And so, yeah, it's going pretty good. And besides that, in our entrepreneurship, my husband and I do have our Inspire Your World store. And it's just basically encouraging people, inspiring people with the things that we have. And then most importantly, we mostly have the t-shirts. I have one on today, the BU. It says "Be they'll adjust." I sell pearl jewelry only. I don't sell any other kind of jewelry. I do sell pearls because I love pearls, as you can see. But yes, we just use that platform to also lift people up and to encourage them, even if it means by what they wear. And so we do have products and items on our website that we and use to encourage other people to be encouragers to other folks.
And mention that website. What's the actual URL?
InspireYourWorldStore.com.
InspireYourWorldStore.com. Okay, all right. Well, we'll be sure to post that
Yes.
in the show notes and get it so that people can go and see. And I need to go and see.
Appreciate it. Yes.
So that is wonderful. That is
Yeah.
wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, you know what? Okay, it's you all, it has been a long day. We are chatting almost at 9 o'clock on
Oh,
a school night, might
let's
I
go.
add. So we are gonna let Lady Keysha go in a little bit, but I just want, to give you space to just share any kind of, closing thoughts, any kind of encouraging words, because this platform, this show it is for the general public. It's not just for other clergy wives, but anything that you want to deposit into the listener spirits before we close out. What would be kind of your closing thoughts and encouragement that you would give?
Well, first of all, speaking to First Ladies, I would like to say the most important thing you can do for your husband in ministry is love on them, of course, pray for and with them, continue the encouragement, and most importantly, keep them lifted up before God and supporting them in ministry in the communities that they serve. Because usually, when people see a pastor, they are looking for his spouse. Okay.
Mm,
And so
mm,
I would say be present as much as possible. Be present. You don't have to always say anything, but being present is what's important. You are a wife first. Know that you're a wife first. I took some notes because I didn't want to leave this out. Guard your marriage intentionally. You have to do that because everybody doesn't have your best interests at heart. You're going to encounter some people in churches who don't like you just because you're you. Okay, so you gotta make sure to know that you're a wife first. Give yourself permission to be human. Um, um, Set yourself up in a way, especially as it relates to your children, that they are just as important, if not more, than anybody else you encounter. My husband and I always let people know that family is your first ministry. So when you know that, you make sure that you don't leave any family out, especially your children. Um, our daughters are very much involved. They give me information and advice and encouragement. They give their daddy information, advice, and encouragement because they're young adults and they see things even more different than I do. When I'm sharing with my husband, they see things even more different that they share with me and him. So we have to also give them that space and that time, especially if they're old enough to give their point of view on certain things. You should set loving but firm boundaries. That is
mm.
important. Loving but firm boundaries. Find a safe support system outside of the church and stay rooted in your own personal relationship with God. I really wanted to make sure I share that with all of the first ladies. And you see me looking off a little bit because I want to make sure I don't leave anything out.
Yeah, no, don't.
There are some times when we're going to deal with difficult parishioners. I would say some of them are a whole lot more bold or bolder than others. But when they approach you in whatever way, just make sure you pray before you respond. That's important. Pause and pray. Listen to understand and not to defend. I've been guilty of that because I love my husband, and sometimes I'm already like what's about to happen, what's about to be said. But I've learned over the years that it's important to listen to understand instead of being ready to immediately defend. And if you got to correct them, do it privately. And if you have to involve leadership, you can also do that too if need be. But make sure that you protect your heart because you have to do that. Because at the end of the day, you still got to be who you are as a wife and as a mother and a nana and all these other hats that we wear. So you want to make sure that you protect your heart. Um, our daughters, I was hoping we got to this question, but I wanted to make sure too that we understand, especially in our denomination, AME Church. For us, I would say the most difficult, or I think one of the most challenging moment that I think that we've had in ministry is raising our daughters in itineracy. My husband has been
Mm.
my husband has served in every conference in the 11th district except the Florida conference. Okay.
Oh, wow.
And so we've had to go to Bushnell, Florida. We've gone to Mulberry, Florida, which is out Tampa Way, West Conference. We've been to Miami, which is South Conference. We've been to Central Conference in Sanford and Oakland and Ocala. We've been, and now we're in the East Conference in Jacksonville. And I always would say that our daughters traveled with us for the most part, and they didn't get a chance to do, well, the oldest one did, but the other two, they didn't get a chance to do a lot of like Pop Warner cheer and this and that. And so we were sure to make sure that if their most closest friends and their most stable environment was going to be school, because we know they had to go to school, and we were going to be sure to keep them stable and in school. And so, though we traveled a lot, going to these different cities, counties, and all, we were sure to make we wanted to make sure that they at least had some stability somewhere. And for us, it was school. So we just kept them in school. Like, if when we had to travel to Miami, my parents kept the girls like for the weekend. And maybe every other weekend they would come. It just depends. And except for summertime, it was a lot better. But we made those arrangements, and we came to an agreement just to make sure that they are not all over the place. And we did. That was the decision we made. And we came together, and I appreciate the fact that we were able to do that now, because I don't know how it would have gone if we had put them in schools in every county their daddy pastor. It just would have been a lot.
Right.
Now, granted,
Yeah.
there have been members that have said, well, we got good schools in Seminole County. And I told them, I understand. I said, but I
It's
want you to look at it from a mother's standpoint. And
right.
so look at it from my standpoint as a mother. I just didn't want to do that to them.
Right.
Right?
So how many churches have you all been servant leaders at then?
Our first church was Bushnell, Mount Olive Bushnell. Then we went to Mount Zion, Mulberry, which was in Polk County. Then we went to Miami-Dade County for a year. Then we came back to Orange County to Oakland, Mount Zion, Oakland. Then we went to Allen Chapel in Sanford, which was Seminole County. And then now we're in Jacksonville. Oh, we went to Ocala. I talked about that one, which is Marion County. They were all adults at that, or grown at that time. But then now we're in. So if I had counted the counties that their daddy passed, it was four or five. Four or five.
Okay, but it sounds like seven churches.
Yeah, this is our seven charge. Yes.
Wow, 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 wow. And so like how I mean what's the longest one that you've served at then?
The first church was 2 years. The second church was a year. The third church was a year. The fourth church was 4 years. Then we went to, that was Mount Zion, Oakland. Then we went to Allen Chapel, Sanford. We were there 8 years. Then we went to Ocala for 2 years. And now we're at Jacksonville for a year and a few months.
Oh, wow, wow, wow. And you talked about, oh, I didn't have a 16-year-old brain, but you have been rattling off these dates and that.
Somebody
So,
got to
yes,
do it.
ma'am.
I had to keep him on track with the same thing. Like, babe, like, so what year was I here? What was the time frame? I'm like, Lord. So yeah, that's
Well,
what
you
that's how
got it.
that's how that happened. Yeah,
You got it.
yeah,
Yeah, I love that that you brought that out, that thought about, just how hard it is as young people, as PKs in our denomination, yeah, that itineracy of going from church to church. And then,
Mhm.
yeah, thinking about they were younger and they were that when stability is the big such a crucial part of their
Yeah,
development and being able to feel safe and secure. So that's amazing that you all saw that, knew that, made that work for them.
yes,
Cuz that's incredible. I mean, I'll say, my dad was what he pastored about, I think it was 3 churches. But thankfully they were all,
like long
I think
term.
they were all in the same county. I think they were all
Okay.
in Pinellas County. And so at most we were driving 40 minutes one way, from the
Okay.
house. And then by the time he got to his, number three, I think I was in college, and then he went to Bethel, St. Pete. But yeah, that's huge.
That
That's
was
huge. That's
important. It
huge.
was definitely important for us, for all of the reasons you just listed, because we just didn't want, for us, it mattered because they
Yeah.
were already missing out on some of the other things that other young people get to do. And we understood that going into the assignment, but we knew still like there was going to be some control somewhere. And so that was,
Yes.
and I'm like, if I can control anything in this, it's going to be this, whatever it has to do with our daughters. And I was sure um, to not really sell it to the people, but help them understand to see that from our viewpoint, how important that was for
Right.
us. And
Right.
then, once they
Right.
got it, like, we understand. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's so good too, recognize, because people are going to have an opinion about everything.
Yes, they do.
But what's important is that you and your husband are on one accord
That's right.
and know that you are doing what's best for your family.
Correct. Hello.
Oh,
Hello. You said a mouthful then. That's serious. That's very
no,
serious statement
it is.
because yeah, we have to we there are certain things that we have to be able to do in order to make this all work in the first
Yeah.
place. Yeah.
Amen. Amen.
Work
Amen.
for us. I don't know about everybody else, but that worked for us for sure.
Yes.
So I would
Right.
definitely say those are some of the things, especially the new and up and coming spouses and pastors. Like, there are some things that you're gonna have to sit down and talk about to discuss to make sure that you all are still on one accord and you're together in the process of thinking how this is going to work for all of us. Because at the
Right.
end of the day, we're still one. We're a unit, and so that
Yes.
we have to be able to flow in that way. Yeah.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful.
Man.
Yes, dropping the
Yes.
gems, Lady
Yes.
Keysha. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. I got to. I've held are you the conference MSA coordinator?
Yes. Hmm.
Yes. How do you like it?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's a lot to learn.
Yeah.
And I think all the coordinators are also pretty new. And
Okay.
so it's kind of like we're all learning together. But thankfully, my past president stayed on as the first VP. So she's been
Okay.
very supportive. I called her today. I was like, what do I do with this? How do I do? So, but it's really an extension of, what I feel called to do in terms of creating space
Good.
for clergy spouses. And so it's just, this is still year one. And so we're actually working on trying to do a mental health forum in May.
Okay.
It's something that this conference had wanted to do the last couple of years, and it just didn't bring it to fruition. So I'm like, okay, that's one of my goals. My first year as president, so we're
That's
moving forward with that. So I'm excited. Like I'm hopeful,
that's good.
but it's still just kind of learning the ropes, if you will. So
That ministry is one in itself. I've been the president of the Central Conference, and
okay,
I loved it because I was able to create closer, more intimate relationships with the spouses of the conference, and we got to share and pray together about different things and spend that time together, which I think is vital. Even what we're doing right now is to be able to open up and share and help people understand your story, and people actually get to glean from that. And I love that. And so, kudos to you. And I'll definitely be praying for you and your leadership role in that position because I think it is much needed. And we need to keep it afloat as long and as good as we possibly can because otherwise some of us wouldn't be able to have those kinds of relationships one with another because especially because our husbands are in ministry, it's always kind of like a pull here and there and everywhere, but we need to understand it's not a competition. Like, we're all in this together. We have one goal together as children of God, and especially as our husbands, our pastors and leaders, is to win souls for the kingdom. And so
That's it.
in our togetherness as spouses, we get to come together and we learn from each other and how to help our spouses to make the whole ministry work all together.
Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah,
love that.
that's
The
good.
whole ministry. Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Yes.
Gotta do it. Gotta do it.
I might use that. I might use that. Oh,
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. I love it.
yeah.
Well, Lady Keysha, thank you so much for
You're
this
welcome.
time. I really have enjoyed learning more about you and your ministry. And
All
I
right.
am excited that other people get to learn about what it is that you are doing for the kingdom, because we know and we believe that it is only what we do for Christ that will last. So
That's
I am just so grateful for your
Amen.
willingness, for your yes.
Yes.
And I am grateful for you all who tuned in to this show, this episode of the Enlightened First Lady Show. We will have to bring Lady Keysha back on and to hear more about all that you are doing. But again, I just thank you again for your time. And be sure, if you enjoyed this show, to like, share, subscribe, comment below. If you have any other questions or comments for Lady Keysha, I'll be sure that she gets them. But until next time, take care and God bless. Thank you.
All right. Love you all.